A5. So what's happening in this story is a student is on a bicycle and they move from traffic lights faster than a truck. But after some time, the truck overtakes the bicycle. So what's happening here is you've got a student on a bicycle and you've got a big truck and there are traffic lights. Yes? And at the beginning, the student gets ahead of the truck. But then what will happen later, eventually the truck will catch up and then overtake the student on the bicycle. Okay, so that's what you need to picture here. We have a bicycle and we have a truck. And at the beginning, the bicycle is ahead of the truck, but then at the end, the truck catches up with the bicycle. So it says here that the student accelerates with 2 meters per second for 6 seconds and then continues at this speed, while the lorry moves from rest at constant acceleration A. They rejoin or re-meet, so to speak, after 10 seconds. Now this is the type of question where I strongly feel you should do this not in the order that they ask. Because for me, the first thing I would do here is to draw the velocity time graph. So here is 10-second mark. This is the time, and here is the velocity. And in fact, I'm actually doing the last part here, the graph, but it's easier for me to do this first. Right, so the student on the bicycle, they accelerate for 6 seconds, and then they travel at a constant speed. Whereas the truck accelerates, its acceleration is not as high, but it just keeps accelerating. So this is the truck here. Yeah. Now we do know the acceleration here is 2 meters per second, whereas for the truck we don't know. We'll just say A meters per second squared. And I don't think we know the speed. We don't. So for me, I've done the graph first. Are we happy with this graph? Does the graph make sense? Are you sure? Okay. Now, just don't look at what they ask. Don't look at what they ask. What do you feel like you can get easily from this? Or what should you get? No. I think there's something easier to get than that. The speed. Yeah, because what does acceleration mean? It's the slope. Yeah, it's the slope. So here we know that if I call this here V, what does 2 equal? V over 6. So what does V equal? 12 meters per second. Now, let's look at the question. Which part is that? That's part 1, isn't it? Okay. Next is they want the total distance the bicycle has moved. Now, who remembers how to get the distance from this graph? What do you do? The area. So now we have, this is part 2. Distance is area, which is a half 6 by 12 plus 4 by 12, because that is a 12.
Oh, can we do
You really like that for this topic. Let it go, man, let it go. That's not what I want here. If you really want to, go for it. Okay, so this here is 36 plus 48, is it? 84. Right, now we want the acceleration of the lorry. The A. Anybody got any ideas how I can find that A? Well, could say,
Yeah.
yeah, they both have the same distance, so
Compare.
I can use that to find the speed, I think. Then once I have the speed, I can easily find the acceleration. So in fact, I'm actually going to do part 4 next, because it's easier for me to do that part next, part 4. Alright, so, what is the area of this triangle? It's a half by 10 by, I'll just call it x. X equals 84. So x equals, what's it, 16.8 or something? 84 times 2 divided by,
84 divided by 5.
oh yeah, of course, 84 divided by 5, just,
16.
yeah, 16.8. Now I'll do part 3. They want the acceleration. So acceleration equals 16.8 over 10, which is
1.67.
I think that's a good example to show you that it is okay to do the question in a different order to what they ask, especially if you feel it's easier for you to do it in a different order. Okay, so for me, I thought, well, if I get the speed, then that means getting the acceleration is very easy, so I should get the speed first. Okay, and likewise, they ask you to draw the graph at the end, but what did I do at the start? I drew the graph. So I'm trying to just, with this question, get you to understand that with these Newton questions, sometimes you may feel it's easier to do it in a different order than what they ask, and that is no problem. No problem. And my advice is, if they ask you to draw a graph, you should really do that first always. So make sure you read the question, see if they want a graph. You should do that first. It's easier, I think, for me anyways. Okay, so now we're on to 6 next.